Now, to round out our fantastic presentations, we have Jenny Paradiso, who is the co-founder and managing director of Suntrix. And, not to flaunt this kind of stuff, but, we always want to make sure we play up our South Australians. But Jenny has also been named one of AFR is Australian Financial Review. Australian Financial Review's 100 Women of Influence. Oh. And in 2016, she actually took out the Australian, not South Australian, Australian Telstra Businesswoman Entrepreneur of the Year. So, yes. So even though she is in renewable energy, let's just acknowledge that Jenny is a powerhouse here in South Australia. But Suntrix, they are a national solar and battery storage company. Jenny is here to explain, demyth, all the things up above to really work through energy, solar batteries, and EVs, and how they all work together. So please join me in inviting and welcoming Jenny to the stage.
Thank you very much. I need to move that down. Hello everyone. Geez, no pressure now. I actually thought I would start with a joke because I know Ken was struggling a little bit beforehand, so I thought if I give you one worse than his, he won't feel so bad. So I found, so we have huddles in our workplace, and on Friday we had a bad joke huddle, and a couple of our staff pulled out some really good solar ones, so I found one on my phone. I'm just going to read it out. It's very short. My neighbour told me she was getting solar panels. Well, she's got my respect. What a power move.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So Ken's feeling better now because I think he got more. Thank you very much. He got more laughs than that one. Okay. All right. I'm going to get started. Thank you for your time. Now, I have one slide about us. Oops. There you go. I'm missing an image. This is really just so that you know who we are. So Suntrix has been around for 13 years, started in 2009. This is my home. South Australia's my home. In fact, I grew up in Tetra Gully and Campbelltown. But we are South Australian born and bred. We do operate in other states though, and I love selling systems and big commercial systems to Victorian government, even though we're a South Australian company. So that's really exciting for us. We deal with anything relating to solar batteries. We're doing EV chargers now, and what I'm going to be talking to you today is about how you might want to put all of those together and when you might be interested in buying one item over the other. We're also very highly involved in the renewable energy industry, so we always said we're not just another solar company. So we are in a number of working groups with SA Power Networks. I've been on the board of the Clean Energy Council for 6 years. I've been on the Premier's Climate Change Council for a term as well. So we're very invested in South Australia, but also in the national space of renewables and trying to lead the strategy and the policy relating to renewables so that you can charge your house with your car, and we get all those regulations set up that we need to make this stuff happen. We're also very highly electrical, so we have 2 electricians on board and 6 electrical engineers, and even those who aren't electrical engineers, half of them know as much as the electricians and the engineers do. So considering we're a small team of under 20 employees, I think that's something to be proud of. So that's it about us, and just so that you know where we're coming from. What I'm going to be talking to you today, solar panels, batteries, EVs, and a few other things and how they work. So I've got a little image up here, and that's really just to show you how all of these things go together. So I'm going to start with the easy stuff, solar panels. Most people know what solar panels are. I don't think maybe 13 years ago it's a little bit harder, but most of you will have an understanding of how they work and what their advantage is. So solar panels are a no-brainer for me. They will, and you know what, it's really interesting when we're talking about making our homes more energy efficient. I live in an old home with so many trees that I do have a lot of shading as well, but there are some things that I just can't do to bring down the use of my energy. So solar's fantastic for that as well. It actually makes me feel a little bit less guilty about having drafts in my windows. So solar panels are great. They give you electricity during the day. We try to set up the size of your system so that you're using most of your electricity now, unless you're looking at a battery. But it's hard to get that matched up properly. A lot of people will use more electricity in winter if they're using it for heating, and unfortunately that's when you get less sunlight, so your solar panels don't produce quite as much. So sometimes you have more electricity in some of them what you need. We see that quite a bit. And in those cases, you either export it to the grid, for nowadays for a small amount of money. Sometimes they'll just limit it so it just doesn't go anywhere and doesn't produce anything, or you might stick it to a battery. And this is where we see batteries actually coming in. Now, the technology has changed, the price has changed. 5 years ago, I spent more of my time telling people not to buy a battery than telling them to get one. Nowadays, that has really turned. Now, I'm not actually, there are still some people that we talk to and say, you know what, maybe don't. But I'd say about 90% of people now, we have a look at your electricity bill, and we have a look at the size of your solar system, also very important. And then we give you some details about whether the battery will be worthwhile. It is worthwhile having a battery if you've got enough solar on your roof that you're producing more electricity than what you need. If you're producing more electricity than what you need from your solar panels, you can store it in your battery, and then at night time you can use that instead of pulling from the grid. We talk to a lot of people who say, I've got a small system, bought it 5, 6, 7 years ago, actually longer than that, 8, 9, 10 years ago, but I don't want to upgrade it because I'll lose my feed-in tariff. Has anyone kind of heard that before? Yeah? Okay. We talk to a lot of people like that. What we do is we have a look at your electricity bill. Most of the people I talk to are getting such a tiny, tiny feed-in anyway because their system is smaller than what they're using that it's actually not worth much. So we tend to upgrade those systems. You lose your feed-in tariff, but if you're only generating an extra 2 kilowatt hours a day anyway because you've got a small solar system, that feed-in tariff isn't worth much, and you're much better getting a solar system that's going to take off that 40 cents, 50, oh my gosh, I saw an electricity bill for 50 cents a kilowatt hour the other day. But that's kind of where they're getting. You're much better upgrading your solar system and actually reducing your costs of your electricity rather than worrying about the feed-in tariff. But always look at the numbers. I have talked to a few people where I've gone, yep, you're on a good wicket, don't touch it. All right. Okay, so batteries are fantastic for taking up that extra solar electricity, and I've got to say, you can put a battery on without solar panels as well. It does happen, especially if you've got time of use tariffs, which means that you can buy electricity when it's cheap and put it in your battery, and then use it when it's use it from your battery when electricity is more expensive. But most of the time, we do it with solar. The other things that I wanted to talk about are electric vehicles, and if you've been outside, you might have seen the Kia EV. That was thanks to a lovely gentleman called Mark who's let us use it for the day. And that electric vehicle, that Kia, is powering our entire site, which includes our blow-up house, our air conditioner, a pizza maker, an air fryer, and so we're actually using the electricity from the car for everything. And that's what I want to talk about. Now, so I put 2 little terms down the bottom. Now, you may not have heard of these yet, but trust me, they're going to become more commonplace. One is vehicle to grid, and one is vehicle to load, or some people call it vehicle to home. And this is what gets me really excited about EVs. Now, I'm excited about EVs because I believe in we call it the electrification of the nation, okay? We're looking at electrifying all of Australia. We're looking at reducing our reliance on gas and on fossil fuels as well, but also just getting our homes fully electric, okay? And the advantage of that is that you can actually use your car as a battery. So we can put the battery on the home, that's great, and it sits there and it works. But what I love about EVs is it is a portable battery for your home. So these are early days, and there aren't many products, and I've got to say the regulations to be able to do it, to actually be able to use your car as a battery for your home. But once that happens, that's what's called vehicle to load or vehicle to home. Okay, so instead of, or in addition to having your battery installed at your house, you can plug in your car. So I'm going to go to work and I've got an EV charger at work. I'm going to charge my car there. I'm then going to go to Burnside Shopping Centre and charge my car there as well. Then I'm going to go home. My solar panels have been working during the day, but it's night time and I want to turn on my air conditioner and my TV, and both the kids are home and they've got their friends over and they're doing all of their things. I can plug in my car and I can use the charge off of the car so that I don't actually pull it from the grid. Vehicle to load actually means I can plug my car in and I can sell the extra electricity to the grid. Now, at the moment, feed-in tariffs are quite low, but there are changes coming. South Australia in particular, and you may have heard a lot of this on the news recently, we have a lot of solar generation in our state, which is fantastic in the beginning of the day and the end of the day, but we have this huge surge in the middle of the day, we call it the duck curve, where we've got more solar than what we need, which is a great place to be, but causes some problems as well. So in the future, we're going to be seeing tariffs from SA Power Networks to say, you know what, if you charge your car in the middle of the day, we will give you really low rates for that because we've got too much electricity, so we want you to use it. Or if you're putting it back in at the end of the day when we need it because the sun stops shining, we'll pay you a little bit more for it. So these tariffs are going to be changing as we move along and EVs get more popular. The other thing I wanted to mention was home appliances and home management systems, and some of our previous speakers have talked about those as well. Appliances are getting smarter. Unfortunately, my dishwasher is not one of those, but one of these days I'm going to have a dishwasher that says, all right, I'm not going to turn this on until this time because I know you've got extra solar. Your washing machine, your fridge. So at the moment, they're just kind of starting to get into that, but the thing that gets me really excited are the home management systems, and these are going to become more popular, and truly, they are going to be vital for you to be using your electricity in the smartest way possible. So we are currently working with a hot water heater manufacturer, a very, very popular one, and we'll be providing this product next year, but they have an energy meter. And so you whack that on, either retrofit it to your hot water heater, your electric hot water heater, or you can install a new one with it in there. And it is so clever. And so what it does is it has a look at when you're go back a step. It has a look at when you're using your hot water. Okay, so it knows that generally the family gets up between 6 and 7 o'clock and they all have a shower. And then, of course, on Sundays, it knows that you generally go home, you have a shower at 3 o'clock because all the kids go play sport or whatever you're doing. So it learns your patterns. It knows when you're going to need that hot water. But then what it does is it has a look at your electricity. So it looks at when your solar is generating, if you've got a battery, what the storage is on your battery. It also has a look at your electricity rates. I pay more at this time than that time. And it is smart enough to know when to turn on your hot water heater to heat your water. Not only that, but you can actually connect it to your air conditioner or your other appliances. So look out for these items. They're becoming more popular. They're a relatively low-cost solution that you can do just to get whatever components you have, whether it's solar, battery, or even just using it with your dishwasher and your air conditioner, is going to be able to use your electricity smarter. And going back to the appliances, I think it's really important when you start looking at replacing your appliances, even if they're not a smart appliance, get the ones that have got the APIs or the ability to communicate with these energy meters so that you can hook them up in the next couple of years. Last one, and I'm watching out for Ken as well. I've got my own timer too, thank you very much, because I'm very strict on these. What do you buy and when? And a lot of people ask that. Oh, I can't get everything. I don't know what's more important. So going back, I think solar is a no-brainer. And we do talk to a lot of people, all right, if you can only afford one thing at the moment, get your solar panels, get them working, start paying them off. You will get an immediate return on them. Even if sometimes you've got extra electricity from those panels and what you can use, we can show you the details to show that you're still well ahead. Start paying them off. The amount of people that I talk to who said, oh yeah, I was looking at solar panels and batteries 2 years ago, but I couldn't afford both. I haven't done anything. It's like, dude, you could have paid off 2 years of those solar panels by now and be that far ahead. Most of them have got a 3 to 4 year payback, some a little bit more, some a little bit less. So if you don't have solar, think about that one first. If you've got a small system, have a look at whether it's upgrading it so that you're actually, and don't worry about the feed-in tariff side. Have a look at whether it's upgrading it. In regards to batteries, you know what, as I said, definitely more worthwhile now than what it used to be. And that's really a budget thing for most people. I talk to people now who are just waiting for the EV instead. Use your EV as a battery if you're not interested in getting one now. The vehicle to grid, vehicle to load, we do know some people who are using that. As I said, the car outside can power your house for days. Fantastic. Everything except maybe the air conditioner, but everything else around the house can power it for days. So that's an option, but I still think there's a couple of years before that's actually going to be mainstream. Depends on the car, depends on your agreement with your electricity retailer. And the modern appliances and the power energy meters, they're an easy, quick fix. You can use them with solar or without solar, but it's actually just trying to get you to use your energy at smart times. I think that's it. I know we've got a panel session next, so happy to take any questions. Please do go out and have a look. And this isn't actually a plug for Suntrix. We're here with another company called V3G. But just have a look how the car, I know this is really lame, I've been doing this for so long, but I still get really excited about it as well. Have a look how the car is actually powering everything. I think that's going to be the way of the future. So happy to talk to you about that too. Thank you very much. I'm all done.